questions and clarifications from the witnesses that are here. So, honorable senators, I would urge us to do this. We step down the IG. A lot of his responses were actually shoved towards either IPOA or DCI. Allow the DCI. Allow the DCI because the IPOA will combine DCI and IG. So let us allow DCI to take the stand. Now, honorable senators, for us to make progress, let us minimize the interventions. Yeah, okay? Honorable senators, let us allow DCI to proceed to respond to the questions sought. And as the DCI does that, please let us not have any interventions so that we make progress. Proceed, DCI.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Senator and Honorable Speaker. And I would like also to appreciate Honorable Speaker and the members for giving me this opportunity to respond to some of the issues raised on the floor, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, an Honorable Senator has actually appealed to my religious faith. And I would like to categorically confirm that I fully understand the religious implications of swearing by the Holy Quran. I cannot please a human being so as to displease my Creator. So mine is to reaffirm that whatever I've said before the Senate and whatever I'm going to say shall be the truth and the whole truth, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, some of the issues that I'll be addressing to have been raised. It is cross-cutting. So I may not be able to attribute the questions to a particular senator. I wish to confirm that it is true that just like any other citizen, the DIG KPS, Mr. Lagat, filed his complaint with the DCI in view of the very, very serious allegations touching on the integrity, both on the office and on the person of the DIG KPS. And with those very, very serious allegations, his only recourse, Honorable Speaker, was to report the matter to the DCI, which is the investigative agency of the National Police Service, so as to investigate those allegations to its logical conclusion. There was nothing extraordinary with that report. Honorable Speaker, we have in the past received and investigated similar complaints from senior government officials, senators, members of parliament, and the investigative process has always remained the same. We receive the report, we investigate with a view to identify the culprits, and we take appropriate action. So the complaint by the DIG KPS, Mr. Lagat, was subjected to the same due process, Honorable Speaker, and there wasn't any preferential treatment as such. So I wish to confirm to this august House that throughout the subsistence of our investigations, the DIG KPS never interfered with the investigations whatsoever. Relating to the complaint letter and the statement, just like the IG has said, we are ready and willing to avail the same before this august House. The question on why the deceased, may his soul rest in peace, was transferred from Homa Bay to Nairobi. Honorable Speaker, the CPC Section 71, Cap 75 is very, very clear on the places of trial and jurisdictions. Ordinary places of trial for an offense is determined where the crime was committed. Our courts also do have jurisdictions, save for those courts that do have or enjoy inherent jurisdictions. For this particular matter, Your Honorable Speaker, the offense we believe was committed in Nairobi, but the arrest was done in Homa Bay County, and that's why the deceased had to be driven all the way from Homa Bay to Nairobi. You may also wish to know that offenses of cybercrime, Honorable Speaker, have a national jurisdiction, as there's no way of justifying the place it has been perpetrated. It is an offense that can be committed even when somebody is on a journey. So it has a national jurisdiction. Senator Kalwale alluded to the fact that we did not have a court order. And I would like to state very clearly, Honorable Speaker, that we do not require a court order to move a suspect from one police jurisdiction to another police jurisdiction. We don't require a court order. For this, for the deceased, he was booked at Mawega Police Station, that is Homa Bay, and booked out at 16:00 hours. And he was booked at Central Police Station 21:32 hours. There was an allegation that why we could not provide the CCTVs at the DCI offices in Mawega. I wish to confirm that we don't have a DCI offices in Mawega. It is a recently elevated police station from a police post, and we don't have the presence of a CCTV there. I further wish to confirm, Honorable Speaker, that the deceased was treated with utmost humility throughout the journey, all the way from Homa Bay to Nairobi by the arresting officers. Indeed, while at Narok, he asked for refreshments, and he was given some refreshments by the arresting officers. Like I said, Honorable Speaker, he was booked at Central Police Station at 21:32. At 21:24, the deceased was given an opportunity while at Central Police Station to talk to his wife. One Nefnin Apondi, on cell phone number 075808161, registered under one George Onyango, who apparently was the father. The vehicle that was used to ferry the deceased from Homa Bay County to Nairobi was a DCI vehicle, GKC 519B Subaru Forester. And I can confirm, Honorable Speaker, without any fear of contradiction, that from Homa Bay, the suspect was driven straight to Central Police Station and nowhere else. And for this, we can technically confirm even the movement of the Subaru vehicle by using the GPS system. Some members were alluding to the fact that maybe the suspect was taken to DCI headquarters, and nothing can be far from the truth. From Homa Bay, he was taken straight to Central Police Station, where he was booked in the cells. And the actual booking, the digital booking, was done by the report office personnel. That via OB 136-76-2025 at 21:32. And it says that the suspect was placed in cells while appearing normal. And that was captured digitally. So there's no room for human manipulation. It has further been confirmed that before the booking, the report office personnel called the OCS. And it's unfortunate it is being said that Talam, Honorable Chair, Honorable Speaker, is the OCS and not the OSPD. That he declined to book the suspect. Talam is the officer commanding Central Police Station. And from the totality of things, he should be treated as a prime suspect in the matter. So, a question was raised about the whereabouts of the DCI arresting officers. Honorable Chair, I would like to first state that the fact in issue here is what caused and who caused the death of the late Albert Ojwang. We are not talking about the circumstances that led to his arrest from Bungoma, from Homa Bay, Honorable Chair. The arrest was legitimate and it was lawful. And he was arrested for legitimate reasons in view of the complaint and the subsequent revelations by our investigations. So, we know where the DCI officers are. They are actively on duty, Honorable Speaker. And they are available, if required, by IPOA for interrogation, for interview. And Honorable Speaker, if the investigation establishes that they participated in the killing of the deceased, then the law should take its course and suitable action be taken against them. In regard to one Kevin Moinde who was arrested and detained at Kamukunji Police Station, the Inspector General has very, very well elucidated that it is true he was arrested, and we forwarded the file to the DPP, who said that we did not cover certain points. And on the basis of that, he was released unconditionally until such a time when we cover some of the points raised by the ODPP. In regard to the other two, we did not arrest them. We don't know where they are, and we cannot confirm whether they are dead or alive, because these are characters we have never interacted with them at all. Honorable Speaker, it is true that the EACC confirmed the same day that our officers were in Homa Bay. When we are conducting investigations, Honorable Speaker, we task this division of labor. We give the teams specific tasks. We have the action teams. We have the teams that do the interviews, the interrogations, the writing of the correspondences, the compilation of the file. So it is not the same team that collected the correspondence from EACC, the same team that arrested the suspect from Homa Bay. And then finally, there was the aspect of the who deleted the social media account. Honorable Speaker, this issue came after the fact of the murder. And we got this in the social media. And I believe in their investigations, because we are not the ones having the conduct of the investigations, this should be an area that should interest the EPOA team to find out, besides other issues, who actually deleted the social media account and why and when. I think those are issues that can be sufficiently addressed by the EPOA investigations. Otherwise, Honorable Speaker, I want to rest my submission there unless there's another question. Thank you very much.
Thank you, IG. Just before you take your seat, when the question as to why the young man was arrested in Homa Bay, not charged in Homa Bay, but transferred all the way to Nairobi, was asked to the IG, his response was that the crime was committed in Nairobi. That was the response of the IG. The same questions was directed to you, DCI, and this was your response, that the crime under the Cyber Crime Act is a crime of a national jurisdiction, meaning it can be tried anywhere. If indeed that is the case, having arrested this young man in Homa Bay with a crime of national jurisdiction, why was he brought to Nairobi?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. When we are making the decision to determine where to take a suspect, there are several variables that we consider. One is the logistics and the investigation convenience. If we say that we take him to a court in Homa Bay, and all majority of the witnesses are in Nairobi, the forensic lab evidence is in Nairobi, the complainant is in Nairobi. So because of that, and because of the logistic reasons, that's why sometimes we find it more convenient to have the suspect charged here in Nairobi instead of wasting a lot of resources going to Homa Bay. And that is provided for in our service standing orders, Honorable Speaker.
Let's hear IPOA. You may take your seat, DCI.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I was asked 4 questions, and the first one was from the Leader of Majority on the status of the young man as he left Homa Bay to Nairobi. And Honorable Speaker, the documents that we have obtained from Central Police Station, which include the OB, indicate that he was booked in as of good health. We also have the statements from the 5 arresting officers, the DCI officers, who alleged that he spoke to the wife before he was booked in. And in regard to that, we have written to Safaricom to be able to obtain the call log to verify whether it's true he spoke to the wife at the same time. And also, once we have the family statements, which are meant to be taken tomorrow, the same indication will come out clearly. The other thing that would have shown his condition clearly, Chair, is the CCTV, which in our report we have indicated was tampered with. And from the forensic report, the forensic experts that we have at the authority, it's very clear that the CCTV was working, because the first thing the forensic expert and the investigating officer noted when they got into Central Police was that the power was not connected to the power cable of the CCTV was not connected to the socket. But on connecting it, the CCTV came back. But on trying to review the previous day's events, there was nothing. So it is very clear that the CCTV was tampered with, and we have referred the same to an expert to be able to retrieve the data. And on whether the retrieval will be successful will depend on if it was the hard disk that was removed or was just it was just a rest. So we are waiting for that, Honorable Speaker. There was also a question on the police stations which have CCTV. On the judgment of one Judge Ogola, he gave recommendations to us and also to the IG on the importance of having CCTVs at the cells, and we are pursuing that. And there was also a recommendation from, I think, LSK on the same. So we are pursuing that, and we have also done inspections and written recommendations to the IG on that. And I want to commend the IG because during his interrogation for the job, he spoke of the importance of having officers having body cams as they do their work. This would also be an avenue where we would have seen what really transpired. So I believe these are some of the reviews and some of the reforms that we would want to see NPS taking up. The other question was on the officers who are interdicted, what we are doing about them as an authority. And I had indicated in my report that the 6 officers were to report today for statement writing at the authority headquarters. And during lunchtime, I've confirmed they have reported and their statements were being taken. 8 of them, including the OCS, had already taken the statements. So of the 6, the authority saw 9 more, 11 more being persons of interest, who are officers who are also around in the Central Police Station, and they'll also be taken in for for statement writing. There was also a question on how long we think as an authority we can give the same case to ODPP for prosecution. Honorable Speaker, with deliberation with my team, our legal team and our investigators, if you're given less than 10 days, we will be able to have all the reports ready, given that we have around 4 or 5 things that we need to conclude. And Honorable Chair, we had given, we had a bill in front of this House through JILAC, that is Honorable Sigei's committee, on powers to arrest and prosecute. There was a question on why the officers have not been arrested. So these are still powers that we are seeking as an authority, because if given these powers, we'll be able to arrest and also prosecute. Immediately we are done with our investigation. And Honorable Speaker, we are committed. As the CS said, nobody is above the law. Our Act as IPOA gives us mandate and powers to summon anyone, including the IG, for statement taking. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Let us hear from the National Police Service Commission. Let him say for the record.
Thank you, Speaker. I don't think there was a question directed to the National Police Service Commission, but I just want to say two things. On the issue that has been alluded by the CS Interior and even the IG himself, we have had situations where the IG wants to do promotions, but officers have not undertaken the requisite career progression courses. And when the CS says there is more need to try and pool resources so that these trainings can be facilitated. And finally, that we are in discussions. It's the National Police Service Commissions which approves the curriculum, and therefore with all the other stakeholders, once it is developed, then it is the mandate of the Commission to approve that curriculum if there are new changes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. Now, once Senator Sige, you have the floor, you will seek that and ask your question, because we are doing the second round of questions. Now, honorable senators, if you can be direct to the questions, we'll save a lot of time. I am persuaded to put a time within which to ask your question. So within a maximum of 3 minutes. A maximum of 3 minutes. If you want to make a speech, you'll need 5. But if you need to ask clarification, 3 should be enough. Senator Ali Roba. Senator Ali Roba.
Thank you very much.
Senator Ali Roba, just take your seat. I remember that Senator Nyutu had not concluded when we adjourned. So conclude.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll take under 1 minute. I was stood down by the point of order by Majority Leader. And my last question actually was to IPOA. And I wanted to ask them how safe they are investigating people who have power to arrest and carry firearms. And Mr. Speaker, because I say this because Lawyer Willie Kimani was doing exactly what IPOA does, and he lost his life. So what is the security guarantee for IPOA? And DIG did not get my question, Mr. Speaker. He's saying that I claimed that investigation about this death has been speedy. I was talking about investigation about the claim made by DIG Lagat. It was speeded up. That is what I meant. And finally, to CS Murkomen, he said, he quoted 245. Why we are demanding that DIG Lagat steps aside, it is because he is a police officer, and this matter revolves around him. So you cannot liken this to a complaint that is made by a senator or somebody else. This is a police officer who can interfere and who can command even people, the officers that are investigating. So it needs to be made clear. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Christopher Sige.
That's very brilliant.
Thank you, Speaker. The clarification that I sought, which is not part of my 3 minutes, I hope, Speaker, was that the question was asked of whether Albert Ojwang was alone or with others in the cell. And the IG said that that would be answered by the DCI and or IPOA, and neither of them answered that question. So that was the clarification that I was seeking. And it was further highlighted by Senator Mandago, who said that there is a detainee witness statement that IPOA took that would probably shed light on whether he was alone or with others. That is the clarification. My first question, Speaker. Who issued, this is to DCI, who issued the orders for Albert to be driven from Homa Bay all the way to Nairobi. I would like to know who issued the particular instruction for that to happen, and not to process him in Homa Bay. Next, the DIG personally, we have been informed, recorded a complaint. And who took down that complaint? I would like to know from the DCI as well. And who else recorded a statement in support of the allegations made by the DIG? That is also to DCI. Next is to the IG. I know that the IG speaker already has said that many of the questions will be answered or will be revealed once the investigations are complete, but this one perhaps he can answer directly. This is to the IG. You said in your first media brief that the cause of death was that he hit his head on the wall, Albert. And you've just clarified that that was wrong information given to you by the primary report by an officer. Who was this officer who gave you this false information that you then issued in your first media briefing that, that misled the country as of the cause of death? That is what I want to know. And the reason I ask this is because if someone saw and alleged that he had repeatedly hit his head on the walls.
Senator Tobiko. Okay, Senator Asige, don't worry, I'll take care of that. Just have your seat. Senator Tobiko.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'll be very brief because a number of questions that I had have already been answered in the process. Mr. Speaker, because the DCI said the crime was perpetrated in Nairobi, that's why the suspect was brought to Nairobi. Yet cybercrime, social media, including X-Space, is not necessarily domiciled in Nairobi. It is still baffles, Mr. Speaker, why the suspect was brought to Nairobi. But now that that happened, and he seems to have paid for his crime through his life. What then, Mr. Speaker, will be the recourse for a murder of this young man who has been murdered by the police? What will then be, the recourse for the family and for Kenyans in general, Mr. Speaker? Because there seems to be a crime on top of another crime, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I had also wanted, but the lady from IPOA has responded, I had wanted to know whether the interdicted officers have recorded their statements and what is the account of the account of the deceased since he was brought to the station. What was his situation when he was brought to the station? But she said those statements were being taken today in the afternoon. So maybe that we will get to know later on. Mr. Speaker, I wanted to know whether the officers at the station, that is the report office, the cell sentry, record at the OB, if they clearly stated the status or the health situation of the deceased before he was booked in. Mr. Speaker, it is also of interest to this House to know how many hours it took to pick Mr. Ojwang from his home to, what was the name of that police station? The first police station? Mawega. And then from Mawega to Nairobi. How many hours? Because that seems to have had so many hours in between, so that we know whether that is normal or whether there was a detour to some other place before he was finally booked into Nairobi. And then, Mr. Speaker, I also wanted to know the normal situation. do police arrest to investigate, or they investigate, forward the case to ODPP, then the DPP recommends the arrests? What is the normal situation, Mr. Speaker?
Senator Muma. Senator Muma.
Thank you, Speaker. I'll be very quick. First, policy questions to the CS. CS, whatever you might call law or policy in Kenya, it would seem it doesn't work for police excesses. But in your speech, you seem to suggest that currently we are out of the woods on matters police excesses. I would want to ask, do you have any policy review proposals around issues of abductions and extrajudicial killings? Secondly, what is your view about commissions of inquiry and inquests as tools that would be used to investigate police excesses? Finally, for you, does the police have any curriculum on human rights approaches to service delivery? CS, that is different from human rights. Human rights approaches is about how you apply human rights in service delivery. For the IG, DCI, IPOA, severally and together, first, the offense of publication. Why did you not, or why do you not consider inviting the person you think has offended to come to the police station for you to ask them questions? Why do you need to deploy a whole vehicle, and you're complaining about resources, all the way to arrest one person? Secondly, IG, it will be good for you to confirm that what your communication director issued, I don't think it's reached even 2 minutes, please. What your communication director issued is actually, I want you to confirm again that it was a false statement that he issued. Thirdly, does IPOA have an independent forensic lab where you're going to carry your...
Senator Kinyua.
Asanti, Bwana Speaker. Swali langu ni kwa DIG Kanja. Ninauliza ya kwamba kwa sababu walipomfikisha Albert Ojwang, walipomfikisha pale Central Police Station, tayari yule ambaye ni afisa mkuu wa pale katika ile police station ambaye anaitwa Talam hakuwako. Inasemekana alipigiwa simu kuulizwa kama atakubali yule Albert Ojwang aweze kuwekwa katika ile seli. Ni utaratibu wa katika polisi zetu, yeye afisa ambaye anasimamia station awe akiulizwa kama mtu yoyote ambaye analetwa katika police station awekwe ndani au la. Hilo ndi swali langu la kwanza. Swali la pili, ya kwamba hawa maafisa ambao walikuwa pale ikiwemo Talam tayari wamesimamishwa kazi. Na Talam hakuwa katika, yeye makosa yake ni kuwa yeye ndiye afisa mkuu katika ile police station ya Central. Tutafika mwisho wapi kuwasimamisha watu kazi, kwa sababu kulingana na mwendo huo afisa mkuu wa polisi wa Nairobi, kwa sababu ako na mamlaka, anapaswa kusimamishwa kazi. Siye huyo peke yake, afisa mkuu wa polisi katika Jamhuri ya Kenya anapaswa kusimamishwa kazi. Kabla tufike hapo,
Honorable Speaker, and I want to ask this question. Why is it difficult to establish a treasury single account to consolidate
laws? An eye for an eye. Thank you.
Senator Ali Roba.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
All the honorable senators are rising on a point of clarification. So immediately Senator Ali Roba is done, you'll take the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to now, Mr. Speaker, can I be heard in silence, please? Mr. Speaker, mine is just a very simple question. Part of it was answered by IPOA when she responded to the questions. But the last part that I want to ask, coupled with a short statement, is that now in processing the persons that have become persons of interest from the time you've taken over this process of investigation, have you exhausted in terms of these persons of interest? What is not adding up for me is where a DIG raises a complaint against a suspect, and that process is undertaken through DCI by the suspect being processed, picked from his house, booked at intermediary police station near the home, brought to Nairobi and booked in a cell, and then the suspect is killed in the ward. You know, what is not adding up for me is that, you know, whereas the situation is extremely tense, there is a position of preconceived conviction before the investigation has been completed, which we need to really go deeper into investigating. It's not adding up. You don't point fingers at you every step along the way that you are the suspect. You are the suspect until the killing happens. So my cautionary statement is that can we broaden our investigation in order to make sure that we don't narrow down just on the basis of the fact that they are pointers rather than conclusions. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Hezana.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And first of all, let me convey my deepest condolences to the father and family of the late Ojwang. And Mr. Speaker, the cost of death is very expensive, and every death is every life is very precious. We go through this every day in Samburu County. our people have been murdered like flies, and it has become the norm. Only that we are a minority in this country, and the only weapon we have to defend our people is the Constitution of Kenya. And I wish that the same Constitution is respected by everybody in this country, no matter what community or region you come from. Just the other day in Homa Bay, we were having jubilations, and as a young citizen, I was so happy that finally we have a regime that is considering every part of this country, especially the forgotten parts of this country. And I had a hope for me and my fellow youth that finally we will have a country where development will not be discriminated to specific regions because of population. Mr. Speaker, our Constitution is a double-edged sword, and it's a protecting tool for everybody, regardless of which position you hold, where you come from. And as legislators, we are here to protect the law and the people we represent equally. Every citizen has a right to a fair hearing, and evidence is very crucial in establishing the culprit. I am not a lawyer, but they say that you are innocent until you are proven guilty. What baffles me is how suddenly Homa Bay is weeping after just having jubilations the other day. And now the whole country is like weeping with Homa Bay. That is so sad. Mr. Speaker, I have had the IPOA, and my question is directed to them, saying that the CCTVs were tampered with. I would like to ask, if the CCTV can be tampered within an institution that is supposed to protect us and ensure security in this country, then which place is safe in this country? Because I can assure you Samburu was not until a few months ago. In the case of tampering of the CCTV and evidence, what usually does IPOA do to make sure that there is a fair hearing to both parties? And while at it, I beg everybody to reason with sobriety and stop blame games, because that's why we are legislating.
Senator Mofire.
Honorable Speaker, I wish to send my deepest condolences on my behalf and the behalf of Naraka County. Honorable Speaker, it is very painful, sad and regrettable that a young soul has died in the hands of the very people and institutions that are supposed to protect lives. Honorable Speaker, I'm speaking on behalf of thousands of Kenyans that the most mentioned person in this saga is Mr. Ariel Lagat. I seen a police officer, actually the second most powerful policeman in this country. The general mood in the country, Honorable Speaker, is that Mr. Lagat is an accomplice in the whole Manda saga. So I'm seeking to get answers from the IPOA and the Commissioner of Police and the DCI. What steps do we expect your good office and that of IPOA and the IG to address concerning and make sure that the millions of Kenyans are being addressed this matter? Number two, Honorable Speaker, many Kenyans have raised the view that the suspended police officers is a cover-up. Is it possible for you to parade these officers before this house to hear their side of the story? Thank you.
Senator Oburu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, many questions have been asked by my colleagues and many questions have been answered. So I will be very brief. Mr. Speaker, I would like to know whether there are laws which only apply to the ordinary Kenyans and they don't apply to the high in society. Mr. Speaker, I'm asking this question because the director of CID has told us here the way they investigated, and they were investigating based on complaint from the deputy IG. And that complaint from the deputy IG led them to go into great details of a so-called cybercrime, Mr. Speaker. I'm wondering whether if an ordinary Kenyan went to complain about a cybercrime, anything would be done. Me, I have complained, I have been defrauded of money. Did this young man defraud anybody of anything? Or was he just an ordinary blogger? I've complained when I've been defrauded of cybercrime and the police take no action. They don't take them seriously, Mr. Speaker. Are there laws which are meant for others and not for others, Mr. Speaker? As politicians, are we treated differently? This boy is just a blogger. He was defaming somebody. For us, we are defamed every day, Mr. Speaker. We are defamed on a daily basis. And there is not treated as a crime. And if somebody thinks making me famous, it is making making me more famous by raising those issues. So I don't mind, Mr. Speaker. But when does he want to tell us that the whole process of going to Homa Bay, doing the so-called thorough investigations, that the complainant himself, who is the second in command of police, was completely innocent? He was just standing by and watching. He didn't know what was happening. That is just an innocent complainant like any other Kenyan. Mr. Speaker, I don't believe that the deputy IG was an innocent complainant like any other. And his role must be investigated in this matter. The small man at the police station, in Central Police Station, that is a very small person, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Lelegwe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Vice Chairperson of IPOA, Anne Mwangi, just informed the House that the CCTV footage or CCTV itself at the Central Police Station was interfered with. Mr. Speaker, my question is to the IG. What measures will you take to preserve and review the CCTV footage, cell records, duty rosters, and visitors' logs from the time Mr. Ojwang was in custody? Lastly, to the IG, whether there is an existing or planned national database to publicly track and report deaths in police custody. Thank you.
Senator Manzo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like, just on the same note, the digital logs entered during the last 5 days of the CCTV at Central Police Station, names of officers with digital credentials, rights of those that can delete, the CCTV footage, because it cannot be done by anyone. And then names of officers that entered their credentials to delete records on the day of the death, and then names of officers that entered their credentials or delete records or soon after the transfer of the deceased to Bagathi Hospital. Mr. Speaker, that information should be available from that platform. And how sure?
My work is easy because I use ClickUp. Here's how I keep track of all my tasks. I start by brain dumping everything I need to get done in a list view. Next, I set a priority and a due date to keep things on track. I create custom...
Mr. Speaker, you know what happened about the communication to spouse? Was it not under duress, Mr. Speaker? And Mr. Speaker, on that particular issue, how sure is IPOA or any investigator that Albert did not arrive at Central Police Station already injured, and then he's booked in, and then he worsens and passes away, and without investigating the DCI officers, you go on to condemn the police officers, yet this person may have come there already injured. Was it established that by any medical person before he's booked in his status, or was it just by looking, with the eyes? And then finally to the Honorable Murkomen, are you aware in your ministry which has gone through this parliament so that it becomes a policy? Because without bringing your policies to parliament, they are null and void. And very finally on you, are you aware the so-called police standing orders? They fall under regulations and they are expired, and you have not bothered as a lawyer to bring them here so that we may renew them. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Seki.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also want to direct my question to the IG and the CS. Honorable Speaker, somebody had just asked about the fairness of the officers who have been given interdiction. But there is one officer who was adversely mentioned in this issue. And for fairness of civil servant, not because somebody is running an office and is senior in that position, I still and strongly believe that Langat, DIG, must be interdicted to await the IPOA verdict, Honorable Speaker. And this question must be brought, that fairness must be brought by the IG and the CS, rather than escaping because somebody is holding a big office and yet is just equal like any other officer who have been interdicted. The same law, the same regulation, the same public act is the one that works to all the civil servants. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Betty Montet.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mine is simple, and I'm going to direct it to the DCI. From the little I know, because I've never been on the wrong side of the law, is that if a suspect is brought in by the DCI, they are booked in the OB by the DCI, and they are the only officers who can come and remove that person. My question is, who is the DCI officer who booked Albert at Central Police Station? Who is the officer at Central Police Station who had the keys to the cells? Who did the officer give the keys to so that Albert can be harmed? And who is the investigating officer in the CID department? Thank you.
Senator Wakili Sigei.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I first of all want to join the rest of my colleagues in sending my deepest condolence to the family of the late Ojwang. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, questions have been asked and answers have been given. The importance of this session, Mr. Speaker, is underscored by the fact that we did suspend our normal business for purposes of this particular inquiry. I am, however, of the very critical concern that it should not be lost in us that this is a preliminary process. The investigation reports so far received from among the officers, whether from the office of the DCI or the IPOA, is that preliminary. It's true that we have got various parties. We have got those who are being investigated, we've got those who are being suspected, and we still expect so much to come, to the extent that I would hope, even as we make the questions and statements we are making, we are not doing that for the sake of doing it, because this calls for much more than just the questions we are asking the IG or IPOA to give us responses to. My question, which is of a greater concern, is to the IPOA, that is the institution which will carry a heavy load in this particular investigation. I am, of course, not very happy that the chairperson of that institution found it very important to be engaged in some other engagements other than this, which is very important today. We have not been explained to what is that which is very important that took him away from being in this house today. I tend to believe that the team that is presently here will take the investigations and the questions that have been asked as critical and as important as it is, notwithstanding the absence of the chairperson. They have asked for a period of 10 days within which they would conduct investigations. How I wish that could be less than the 10 days they are asking, and the commitment hasn't come from their end, so that even as Kenyans complain, even as Kenyans raise concern about the death of Ojwang, and the rest of us have suspended our business, we needed less than the period they are asking in order to get to the bottom of this investigation and to tell Kenyans the truth. This is not the time, Mr. Speaker, to make very popular statements. It might sell today, but are we dealing with it in posterity? That should be the question we should ask ourselves, even as we interrogate and as we ask the answers from the entities who are present this afternoon. Thank you.
Senator Professor Margaret Kamara.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. I also didn't get an opportunity yesterday, so I would like to join colleagues in passing my deepest condolences to the family of Ojwang. Mr. Speaker, losing a child is never easy and was still an only child. It was very painful to all of us. Mr. Speaker, I only have one question to IPOA. Now that the autopsy results have come out and suicide has been ruled out, IPOA has mentioned to us that they have been taking statements since morning. What is the breaking news since morning? Do we know any leads? Because the country is listening to us. We have kept the minister, we have kept everybody here, but there are people who have been doing investigations. Are people being arrested? Have they been arrested? What is the current situation? Because, Mr. Speaker, the public have always been accusing us that when a senior person dies, the security system moves very fast. We need to know as of now, between yesterday when suicide was put aside, was ruled out, what exactly is going on as we are in this House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Fernandi County.
Finally, Chair, Bangetuji Taran, Mr. Speaker, I want to ask the following questions. One to the IG and DCI. CCTV, we need to do the CCTV of Central Police Station. They are said has been tampered with. We need accountability from 9 p.m. Saturday, 7th June 2025, to 8 June 2025, 4 a.m. Sunday. And yet in the records of OB, your current book, it says Albert was booked at 3:45 a.m., 2:35 a.m., and he was dead by 3:45, Mr. Speaker. Speaker, to the CS, you flew to Nandi a few weeks ago when Father Albert Alois Cheruiyot Bates was killed. You told the family you know the killers. People have been ill in Angata Baragoi. People have been killed for the minor. Mr. Speaker, when you read Article 245 and 240, the Ministry of Interior suffers from leadership crisis. And it is good the nation has seen the incompetence of CS Murkomen on this matter. And if anybody has to resign, we must start with the Cabinet Minister Murkomen, Mr. Speaker, because that is where the buck stops with, Mr. Speaker. And I want to tell you, Murkomen we have today is different. Abraham Lincoln said, if you want to know the true test of a man, give him power and money. If all of us can withstand adversity, Mr. Speaker, and the CS must tell this nation, because I heard he has a wrong assertion that he's barely in office 6 months. Does he need 10,000 years to make change in this country, Mr. Speaker? Finally, he has not presented any policy on police brutality as per Article 245 and 240, Mr. Speaker. I think it is a high time that the President must do a reshuffle, take the Cabinet Minister of Interior back to sports, because he like lettering Muchezo in the business that we are discussing about this country, Mr. Speaker. And we will not sit and allow this to happen, Mr. Speaker. Everybody must be held to accountable, Mr. Speaker, and there is no law. Mr. Speaker, is PS, and I want to find out from him, is PS Omolo, when Ongondawere was killed, he used to give blow-by-blow information. What is happening to Albert Ojwang? What is happening to Father Alois Cheruiyot Bett? What is happening to Angata Baragoi who was killed, Mr. Speaker? He must be held accountable. If he doesn't want to be held accountable, let him take a walk, Mr. Speaker. So my questions are to the CS and the question to IG and DCI, Mr. Speaker, so that we, and being a guest of most of these cells, I have slept in them, Mr. Speaker. And I don't fear to sleep in it in future, because I know how to maneuver myself. The only danger is I might be killed. But what I want to find out from these police cells that we're having, is it have CCTV cameras in most of these, Mr. Speaker? Are they introducing CCTV cameras to all police cells across the country? Or is there a slow modus operandi that shows that you can be arrested in Nandi, the way I was driven for 4 hours, and that day I never got even a soda.
Senator Hamida.
Asante Bwana Spika. Waswahili wanasema mkuki kwa nguruwe, kwa mwanadamu uchungu. Watoto sio Albert peke yake, lakini watoto wengine pia wa watu wamefariki. Huu ni mwezi wa akili, wanaita mental health. Nashindwa kama wazazi wa Albert wamezungumziwa. Wazazi wa Albert, kama serikali imeweza kuwafikia kweli, kuwasemesha na kujua kuwapatia imani na watoto wao. Ya kwanza ni kuuliza kwa IPOA, mumeweza kuchukua statement kutoka kwa IG Langat? Yeye ameshaandikisha statement, na mpaka sasa mbona hatujapata kitu chochote kile kimeshikanisha na mtu yoyote? Na Mheshimiwa Were kweli alifariki, lakini na siku mbili tulipata wanaitwa nani, washukiwa wakuu, lakini leo mpaka saizi ya Albert bado hajapatikana. Nashindwa. Na ya pili ni kuwa Albert alipewa nafasi ya kukutana na wakili wake, hata kuzungumziwa. Manake yeye alikuwa na nafasi ya kupewa nafasi na wakili, Amin, awe na wakili wake. Alipewa nafasi ya kukutana na mtu yoyote. Albert ameshikwa siku moja, na hiyo siku kila kitu kikaendelea. Akagongwa hiyo siku na akafa hiyo siku. Na imethibitishwa kuwa kutoka kwa IPOA kuwa Albert hakujinyonga, Albert hakujiua, Albert aliuliwa. Hii damu ya Albert na hii machozi ya wazazi wa Albert itadhulumu kila mtu yule alipatikana na hiyo mambo. Na leo tusifiche, leo tuweke mambo paruwanja kwa mtoto yule amefariki. Leo ni Albert wa mtu mwingine na kesho ni wenyu. Kwa hivyo tunaomba haya mambo yawe wazi. Kwa hivyo tunataka kujua statement ya IG Langat imeandikwa ama haijaandikwa, na kwa nini imechukua nafasi hii na time hii yote mpaka sasa hatujapewa kitu chochote, yani wazi kuwa ameshikwa ama ameambiwa chochote. Tunaomba kingine tena ni kuwa wazazi wa Albert wafikiwe kwa leo, wazungumziwe na waambiwe kinaga ubaga ni nini. Babake Albert analia, nasema huyo mtoto ni mkono mmoja tu, ni jicho moja tu. Kwa hivyo leo mtamcompensate nini wazazi wa Albert? Langu ni hilo tu.
Senator Mundigi.
Asante Bwana Spika. Swali langu naomba kujibiwa. Wakati Albert aliletwe kutoka kwa ile county na kuletwa Nairobi kwa station, na tunajua kila station iko na askari, na kila dakika kidogo kama lisali moja kuna kuja watu wengine wanakuwa pale, kwa hiyo station haivungangwi. wale askari walikuwa wanalinda hiyo station walikuwa wapi? Ya pili, katika Kenya ING, wakati ulikuja hapa tulikupitisha na tukajua utarainisha upande wa ulinzi. Kila sub county ulikuta watu wa guidance and counseling wangapi? Kwa sababu tunajua askari wengine wako na pressure, ni watu kama sisi, wengine ni watu wa kunywa pombe, na wale watu wanaenda kushika kule masinani ni watu ambaye waro chavu. Tunataka kujua ulikuta watu wa guidance and counseling wangapi, na pia umeongezea wangapi? Ya mwisho, katika Kenya tuko na ING moja na deputy ING. Kwa sababu najua Speaker aulisangu swali. Hiyo swali nataka Senate nijibu. Wakati watu walikuwa kuitwa hapa wakuja hapa, ule mwenyewe deputy ING aliwaswa wapi ndio atuelezee ni nini ilikuwa inaendelea, kwa sababu yende ikawa sio ING avai kujibu ile maswali kwa hapa yote.
Senator Richard Onyonka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to say, number one, this is a sad event. The young man was not transported from Homa Bay on any other day. The family said he was picked on the 6th, and on the 7th, he died. There's a letter that I want the IG to look at that you give as a press conference, where you said that the gentleman was actually picked and he did not go to Central Police directly. He was kept at the DCI offices. The letter exists, you can refer to it. The DCI denied that the gentleman was not taken to their offices. My honest observation is this: our country has got issues. Right now we can try and sanitize where we are. These events they are sequential. If many of you in this house can remember, there was a lady called Njeri, a blogger. She was picked up. If people had not made noise about her, she would most probably be dead. Gentlemen who did the BBC documentary were arrested. Up to now, we don't know whether their case is in court or not. Then this young man dies. And of course, many of you have talked about Ongondo Were's case, which is now a good case of the government getting involved. We have lost so many Gen Z. You remember the dam where these kids were being dumped? Yeah, I hear many people talk about Yala. Forget about that. Let's bring an inquest, an inquiry to this house to investigate whether it is from Yala all the way up to every single person who was killed. These children have never been compensated. These children have never been talked to. Their families are treated like rubbish, and we are very comfortable. I know after this thing is held here today, everybody's going to go home, and it's going to be business as usual. I wish you all the best. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Morango.
Asante sana, Mr. Speaker. Unajua kutangulia chanoni kuzindi tonge. Kwa hivyo walionitangulia wameuliza maswali mengi muhimu. Kwa hivyo sina mengi ya kuuliza. Mr. Speaker, swali langu litaenda kwa IPOA. Niwaulize katika uchunguzi wao mahali wamefikisha hadi sasa, mshukiwa Albert Ojwang mmepata kama alikuwa peke yake katika ile seli aliwekwa ama walikuwa na wenzake? Hilo ndilo swali langu la kwanza. Na la pili ni kwamba katika kanuni za kushughulikia wafungwa ambayo tumepewa leo na IG, linasema kwamba mshukiwa anafaa kuwa na uhakiki wa kiafya kwamba ako katika afya nzuri kabla hajawekwa katika seli. Ningependa kuuliza IG kama kuna stakabadhi zozote ambazo zinaonyesha kwamba vipimo vilifanywa na Albert kuonekana alikuwa sawa kabla ya kuingizwa katika seli. Swali hilo lingine, IG na ameomba msamaha kwa sababu alipotosha nchi na kwa kusema kwamba Albert alinijigonga kichwa katika ukuta. Ni kama kwamba omba hakuna ukuta, aliupata na rombi. Swali langu ni kama IG alipotoshwa na kundanganywa ndio akatoa taarifa, na wale maafisa ambao walimpatia hiyo taarifa ndio wataenda mbele ya IPOA, tungetaka kujua wameokokea kanisa gani kwamba akienda kwa IPOA atasema ukweli. Asante sana, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Kamau.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to join my colleagues in conveying my sincere message of condolences to the family of the late Ojwang. Honorable Speaker, I also want to know from the National Police Service Commission which reforms are they prepared to put in place to restore the confidence to Kenyans that police stations or police cells can be the centers of reform rather than sites of terror. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Mandago.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, from the onset, let me say that indeed it was a very, very sad incident to lose a life in a police station. Honorable Speaker, I have only about 2 questions to the IG. On the matter of the CCTV, Honorable Speaker, we would like to know where is the control center of that CCTV. Is it at the Central Police Station? Is it at Vigilance House? Is it at the Regional Police Commander's office? Where is the control of the CCTV to the extent that it was switched off before that incident? Honorable Speaker, finally, let me also say that as a Senate and as a House, Honorable Speaker, I don't think in this session we were inviting the team here so that we can gather evidence, pass a judgment, and sentence those who seem or we think they are accused. Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to say this. There have been calls of resignations for the DIG or stepping aside, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, when it is being said by senators who have also been once arrested, and since they were arrested, Honorable Speaker, and they were asked not to contest, they would say, we are innocent until we are proven guilty, Honorable Speaker. How then do we expect the DIG, whose the investigation are still ongoing, he has not been taken to a court of law, and all of a sudden we have a chorus that, Honorable Speaker, they should resign. Honorable Speaker, I also want to ask the IG whether the investigations and IPOA are also being extended, especially to those political groupings, Honorable Speaker, who have been saying, you are playing with fire. There will be Arab Springs. Honorable Speaker, what makes us think that they are not behind this process to actualize the Arab Spring they are perceiving and trying to conceive in their minds, Honorable Speaker? There is need to widen the investigation so that probably those opportunists who would want to use such incidents, Honorable Speaker, to pursue a political agenda, they must also be cut to size, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, finally, let me say that it is not also proper, Honorable Speaker, when we use the floor of the House, Honorable Speaker, to also make sweeping accusations because of the privileges we have as a House on the officers, even on the officers or the team that has appeared here, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker,
Senator Chute.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to refer you to our Constitution, Article 26, 1 and 2. 1 says very clearly, every person has the right to life. 2 says that the life of a person begins at conception. Article 29, every person has the right to freedom and security of the person, which includes the right not to be, on D, subject to torture in any manner, whether physical or psychological. Honorable Speaker, last week we lost 4 people in Loyangalani. 2 of them are between 19 and 20, and 2 others are between 35 and 75. A police officer, OCS, was injured in that fracas, OCS Marua is in Nairobi West Hospital, currently hospitalized with a gunshot wound on his 2 legs, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I really condole the friends and family of Albert Ojwang. Honorable Speaker, I have a very good question. This is a very simple question. Safaricom, how are they involved in this matter of identifying people? When you are even in a toilet, a police officer will get to you. Can we ask Safaricom to come before this house and tell us what is going on? Number 2, this is a question to DCI. There is, of course, long before apprehending suspect, they normally have a request for that person to appear before a police officer. Why do you go all the way to Homa Bay to arrest an individual for just a minor case? Why don't you ask him to come and report to the nearest police station? Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Karungo. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And just to feel a bit safe, I think the Sergeant at Arms should be close to me, owing to the fact the gentleman behind me ordered my arrest a few months ago. Mr. Speaker, the question is not what Ojwang did. The question is, why did they kill Ojwang? Mr. Speaker, we have told that he was brought to Nairobi because the crime was committed in Nairobi. Is social media Nairobi, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, why was Ojwang grilled at the comfort of the DIG office at Vigilance House rather than Kiambu Road DCI headquarters where they do all these kind of investigations? We were told here by the IG himself he was taken to Vigilance House. Mr. Speaker, who ordered the arrest? Because I think that one has not been put clearly here, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, and just to advise the Senator of Garissa, before he lectures again, it took the death of the firstborn of Pharaoh for Pharaoh to let the Israelites go. It has taken the death of Ojwang for us to confide together and say we have to fight this to the end. He's a martyr, Mr. Speaker. And so we must say as a Senate, no one else should die. Mr. Speaker, no one else. And if anybody dies at the hands of the police or anybody else, Mr. Speaker, don't bury them, Mr. Speaker. The family should not bury them. We should be going to every police station, Mr. Speaker, to tell them that you killed this man, we need justice. Even Ojwang should not be buried, Mr. Speaker. He shouldn't be buried until we get justice, Mr. Speaker. My question to CS Murkomen: who is killing us? Who is killing Kenyans? Who is killing the youth? If you do not have that answer, Bona CS, because 4 years ago on the floor of this house, you said, let us not sacrifice Kenya. We are not going to sacrifice Kenya, but we must sacrifice someone who is in line from the DCI, IG, the DIG, even the CS. So propose to us who should step down on this issue, at least justice to be done and also to be seen to be done, Mr. Speaker. And as I rest my case, the officers who arrested Mr. Ojwang, Mr. Speaker, all the way from Homa Bay, it seems they were an okay officer. They were fine. They were giving him the phone, talk to your family, talk to your friend. They even a clip that is online. So it seems those officers were doing their work. We need to find out, after he arrived in Nairobi, Mr. Speaker, who did what? Senator Kisang.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to associate myself fully with the statements done by Senator for Garissa. Honorable Speaker, those of us from North Rift, we have suffered for so long, and I wish the media could have helped us and highlighted the way we are doing this, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I have three questions. question number one to the DCI. How is Chief Inspector Talam a main suspect, as you have alleged, and you have told us Talam was not in the police station during this particular period when Ojwang was brought to Central Police Station? Second, Honorable Speaker, I want to find out from the IG. I don't know if there is harmony in the senior rank of National Police Service from the IG all the way, because I'm suspecting they could have used this opportunity that was a complaint raised by DIG Langat to settle some scores, because we know in the next 1 or 2 years there's going to be succession in the National Police Service. Third, Honorable Speaker, is to CS Murkomen. You have heard from my colleagues here that cybercrime is not really a very serious crime. There is an opportunity for you to have a policy where those who are suspected to have done cybercrime to be invited to go to police stations instead of being looked for. Because I expected the DCI to have used the same resources they did and went to Homa Bay to look for those who killed Father Lois. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Essie Okenyuri.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First, I wish to say that the issue of Ojwang is a very emotive issue because, Mr. Speaker, we have spoken about every other thing, but no one is speaking about the young lady wife who's been left behind, the young child. Cabinet Secretary CS Murkomen, I would wish that out of empathy we commit to assisting the young lady and child who's been left behind. Mr. Speaker, I also wish to find out an explanation on the time difference, because on an ordinary day when I leave Kisii for Nairobi, it's less than 4 hours, I'll be in Nairobi. I would wish to have an explanation from the IG on the time difference between the time Ojwang was picked and his arrival at the Central Police Station. To the DCI, what criteria did you use to conclude that the OCS is the prime suspect? Because even for the members of the public who viewed the body at the city mortuary, the body does not actually appear fresh, meaning there was quite some time. It's either allegedly the officers at the Central Police were under duress to admit a half-dead person, because the time duration by arrival at Central Police and the time Ojwang was taken to Mbagathi, it was less than 1 hour Ojwang was declared dead, Mr. Speaker. So I do not wish to ask further questions, Mr. Speaker, but the death of young people like Ojwang, young people like Duke Nyabaro in Kisii who was found hanging and nothing really happened after that, I hope we are not just going to be emotional and this gathers dust, Mr. Speaker. We need to find why Ojwang, a young man from a peasant family, had to undergo this when they come to the city to try and make a living for themselves, Mr. Speaker. May his soul rest in eternal peace, and so sorry for the family and the people of Homa Bay. Thank you.
Senator Mariam.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, first of all, we are only listening to one side of the story, Mr. Speaker. So I urge the committee first to listen to the Albert family and to hear more from them, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my question is about cybercrime. Mr. Speaker, cybercrime in Kenya is increasing. So how the DCI, why is it so important for this one to be so crucial up to someone, a young man, lost his life, Mr. Speaker? Does it mean the person who is issued by Albert is holding a big office? That's why he lost his life, Mr. Speaker. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, IPOA listed 5 members of DCI who arrested Albert from Homa Bay, Mr. Speaker. But when it comes to the first prime suspect, why is it not them? Because when the Albert was admitted to central police stations, the OCPD refused to admit because of his health sector, because they said, we cannot admit him until maybe you have to take him to the hospital, Mr. Speaker. Then does it mean that 5 members of police of CIDs for DCI must be the first suspect to be interdicted, Mr. Speaker? Secondly, Mr. Speaker, when IG interdicted the police, Mr. Speaker, why are they not arrested and not put in jail so that the investigation will go on? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mbugua.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Very quick clarification. First, from the IG, I would want to know the name of the officer and the designation of the officer who found the late Albert Ojwang in the state he was in the cell, for him to be taken to the hospital. And secondly, still to the IG, I would want to tell this House the cell number and the holding capacity of the cell the late Albert Ojwang was in. And finally, I would want you to assure this House and the country at large that junior officers who be involved in who be called to be as witnesses in this matter will not be discriminated, and they will be safe. Thank you, Speaker.
Senator Karen Nyamu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I know the IG of Police has apologized today for the initial statement, but that initial statement, Mr. Speaker, is tantamount to a cover-up. And we are curious to know on whose behalf was he doing that cover-up. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, when it is a VIP who is subject to investigations, it takes a very short time to have people charged in court. How many police officers were on duty in Central Police that night? Mr. Speaker, I have been held in Central Police cell myself. And so I know at night there's not so many police on duty. How come we don't have all of them taking plea? Where haven't they been charged to date? Because you cannot tell me, such a crime cannot be committed in the ignorance of anyone in that cell. Everyone what do you call it? Everyone is involved one way or another. Another thing, this complacency by the police is giving this government a very bad name. We have a tag on this government as a blood-based government. How many people have been charged with the death of the multiple Gen Zs who have died under this administration? It is not the work of the government to charge. It is the work of the police. Are you also involved in sabotaging our government? We want to know. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Asige, I'll give you your minute that you lost when you're doing your asking question.
Speaker, for acknowledging that I had lost a minute. The clerk's table, for some reason, has given every other senator 3 minutes, as you had instructed, but myself, when I stood, I only got 2 minutes, and that is on record, and I'm thankful for the extra minute. Speaker, what I was trying to say as I was concluding is that the IG spoke about a primary report having been the reason why he said the cause of death was suicide by Albert Ojwang. And I wanted to understand who was the person who gave him that primary report, because that might at least shed some light on whether that person, that officer who gave him the false report, is involved in the cover-up and obstructing of justice. And secondly, I wanted to know if this particular investigation is hinged upon one tweet, one post by the complainant. Where is this post? Because none of us have seen it. Can the DCI table that post so that we can analyze its veracity and its authenticity and make sure that it's not AI generated or tampered with in any other way? Thank you.
Now, honorable senators, I will now allow the witnesses led by the CS to respond to the many questions that you've raised. However, before I allow the CS to take to the stand, Senator Karungo Wathangwa, while asking a question, indicated that the IG had said that the young man was interrogated at Vigilant House. I have asked the clerk at the table to confirm from the Hansard whether that is true, and he has indicated to me that that is not true. You may now proceed, CS.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me start by thanking my colleagues, the senators, for really raising very weighty issues that I have, as I already said, some we have been able to note, some we will get it from the Hansard, and those which are concerning policy issues, Mr. Speaker, will do the proper follow-up. I also would like to say on the floor of this House that considering the number of cases that IPOA is being requested to investigate, Mr. Speaker, from a policy perspective, it's important as a country that we give IPOA more support in terms of resources and ability to hire more investigators so that these cases are heard and resolved expeditiously, because people are asking this question, Mr. Speaker, how come the one for Honorable Were was handled within a week or so on a shorter time, and how come this one is not moving at the same speed? Mr. Speaker, it must be understood that this is IPOA investigating police. On the other incident, it was the police themselves investigating a crime, and therefore the capacity, whereas there are not enough resources on the DCI side, we believe that DCI has a greater capacity than the IPOA itself. Therefore, IPOA requires some level of support so that this can move expeditiously. The question Kenyans are asking is that, are we treating this case different from those that are affecting persons who are prominent, like a member of parliament and so? And I was saying, Mr. Speaker, it must be seen from the context that for the questions of investigation in Barakoi, for example, Angata Barakoi, Mr. Speaker, for example, and the case of this one for Albert, all of them are by IPOA, which has a smaller establishment than the DCI, and therefore the process gets slower. If it was the efficiency and the capacity that the DCI has, it would have moved a little bit faster. Mr. Speaker, very few questions have been raised, but in depth, Senator Muma has asked policy review. I already gave my undertaking already in the House earlier that when I came to office, I have instructed the team in my office to look not just at the law, but also the judicial decisions, including Justice Ogola's decision, Mr. Speaker, to see how we can mainstream them and improve the service standing orders or work on different regulations or establish a new legislation that can be able to fill the gaps. This is not an exercise that is confined only to the ministry, but also we can work together with the relevant committee of this House. Mr. Speaker, on the Commission of Inquiry and Inquest, I think those are very genuine legal, constitutional parameters that can be used, or instruments actually, that can be used to get to the truth. Where there is doubt that the truth can be found, these mechanisms can be utilized. However, Mr. Speaker, in the situation that we are, I think it's too early, considering that it was only 2 days ago, to pass judgment that IPOA is unable to do these investigations. But should the investigations not bear any fruit, Mr. Speaker, those are instruments that can be considered by this House as ways of investigation. Mr. Speaker, on the curriculum, we have the curriculum. We have the curriculum, and as Senator Muma, having myself trained before on rights-based approach to development, I know what you mean by saying, talking about human rights approach to service delivery. The instruments are there, but the ability to disseminate it, to catch up with the older population that are already been trained. And also the ability for the National Police Service to have continuous training is constrained by resources and facilities. In fact, we might have this discussion another time. You know that all over the country, wherever you go, and for those who have been with me in the Jukwaa la Usalama, you realize that the National Police Service has many issues that needs to be dealt with. A police station, even for a police station to have a CCTV is just by luck, because some of them don't have OB, some of them don't have furniture, they don't even have a computer. We have shortage of vehicles. We have all many other challenges that this administration realized. That is why there was a police reform committee that was put in place to see how best are we going to enhance. And that's why we're doing procurement now for vehicles. We're trying to do digitalization and digitization so that if you had the DCI properly, it told you that part of the occurrence book is reported digitally. And that's evidence that cannot easily be erased, not like a book or a paper within the police station. So there's a lot of work that we want to do on digitization and digitalization of the police service. But the challenge we still have is to work on the resource constraint that we have. So police officers are asking for basics: a police station with a cell, a police station with a vehicle. At the moment, OCS is sharing a vehicle with OCPD and so forth. And all this we are working on as a ministry, and this is an area that I put a greater emphasis to see that the police officers are resourced to do their work. Again, on the issue of Senator Beatrice Ogola, I am very clear, Senator Beatrice, I am very clear in my mind. I saw the father of the late Albert Ojwang, and like any other parent, I felt the pain of that parent. And they only give possible gift we can give them in the time that they have lost their loved one. And it's even more painful when it's the only child. Mr. Speaker, is to promise them that we will do everything we can and to ensure that justice is done and to ensure that those who perpetrated this heinous act are put behind bars, Mr. Speaker, so that they can suffer the pain of having inflicted this grievous bodily harm, which eventually resulted in the death of Albert Ojwang. Mr. Speaker, that is the little we can give. Of course, Mr. Speaker, as I said earlier, we are obligated as leaders and also citizens and also within this leadership of this ministry to support their family, like Senator Veronica Maynard asked earlier, so that we, in a small way, we can be able to facilitate and help them to find ways of comforting themselves. But I tell you, Mr. Speaker, there is nothing actually that can compensate the loss of a child. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I stand with them, and I will do everything as a cabinet secretary to ensure that those who committed this act are brought to justice. Mr. Speaker, she has also asked what's the motive. I think the motive is a subject of investigation. Let's allow the investigations to go on. It will eventually reveal to us who exactly did it and why, Mr. Speaker. There are many indications, almost like the whole indications show that this is a crime that happened within the police station. Mr. Speaker, if it is confirmed that it happened within the police station, Mr. Speaker, I believe, Mr. Speaker, that those who will be found should be held accountable. But, Mr. Speaker, we must also find resources to expeditiously make our police station safe haven for those who are going there to get justice and particularly to be brought before justice. Mr. Speaker, on Senator Manzo, is raised a very valid question. There are a host of regulations that whose period was terminated was past 10 years, and we had an omnibus extension that happened. But now there has to be, as I told you, there is a review process for the service standing orders. When eventually the review is done, it will be brought to this House and the National Assembly for purpose of approval. And I agree with you. It is not true that a policy must come here for it to be effective. That's not true. But for a policy to be a sessional paper, it must come to this House and therefore approved by Parliament. But if we want to have a policy for the sake of a policy, it can be adopted by the Cabinet after public participation processes, and it can still work as a national policy. Mr. Speaker, I want to confirm to Senator Seki and all others who are talking about whether or not I know whether the DIG should be held accountable or not, that I do not hold a brief to defend or in any way to accuse him. Mr. Speaker, I believe as a lawyer that evidence must lead to the suspect. And Mr. Speaker, when that evidence leads to that suspect, Mr. Speaker, in my office and any other office of government, no one should be able to block any processes of justice. What I hope we cannot do as a nation is that we cannot sanctify a process, a very heinous act that was done by criminals, somehow maybe through even a mob justice, if I put it that way. We cannot sanitize it, Mr. Speaker, by also carrying out mob justice against the other people. We must always, if we are calling for equity, Mr. Speaker, we must come with clean hands. If we are calling for justice, we must be ready to follow the legal processes, Mr. Speaker, so that we can lead us to the response. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Chute asked the question of, generally just captured the issue of OCS Marwa. OCS Marwa is a person known to me personally. I was with him in Marsabit just not long ago. And Mr. Speaker, most of these police officers are suffering. Mr. Speaker, a lot of them are sacrificing for their country. I went to see some of the police officers who have suffered because of the operations in Boni Forest, protecting our country in the border, those who are doing a lot of operations in the Kerio Valley region and issues of banditry and the eastern and upper eastern areas. Mr. Speaker, there are many, many police officers who are sacrificing their time and energy to protect this country. Mr. Speaker, this cannot be a representation of the police officers. There are very few elements in the police office who are errant, who are violating the law, Mr. Speaker, but that does not mean we do generalization that the entire 120,000 police officers are all culpable. Mr. Speaker, even in this reform process and the work we have been doing, we've been trying to edify and praise those who are doing a good job, even, Mr. Speaker, as we hand over to a justice system process to those like the ones who have committed this heinous act to be held into account. Senator Tango has asked me, who is killing Kenyans? Mr. Speaker, that is a very good question, but better answered, Mr. Speaker, from an investigation process. Again, when I come back with a statement that was capturing the protests, the deaths that happened in the protests last year, when all of us, including Senator Tangwa and the group were on one side. Mr. Speaker, I will be coming with that statement back to the floor of this House. And Mr. Speaker, when I do so, we will interrogate all the people who suffered as a result of that protest, Mr. Speaker. And again, we'll be able to know how far the investigation have gone. So let me not use this opportunity to enlist it, because already that statement is to our office, Mr. Speaker. The day I will be called again, and we were supposed to interrogate today, but the day I'll be called again, we can be able to look at these issues. But Mr. Speaker, every case is investigated independently, and Mr. Speaker, every person who is held culpable is brought before justice. Mr. Speaker, Senator Kisang has said a true thing that, Mr. Speaker, perhaps Mr. Speaker, we should be also expending our energy to make sure that, Mr. Speaker, we deal with banditry. We are doing everything possible. Mr. Speaker, let me say this. The problem of banditry, particularly where Senator Kisang comes from, which is also my home county, Mr. Speaker, and the entire Kerio Valley, has been a problem since 1975. Mr. Speaker, it had been so intensified in the last 2 years that it was a big problem 2 years ago. Mr. Speaker, the statistics I have, and I really challenge anyone to call me to come with the numbers here, is that between January 2024 and June 2024, Mr. Speaker, in comparison to January 2025 and June 2025, we've reduced the incidences of cattle rustling by more than half, Mr. Speaker. That is a tremendous progress. And it is because of police officers who are sacrificing their time and energy to deal with issues of banditry in the Kerio Valley. You heard Senator Ezena speaking here that some time ago, Samburu was terrible. And Mr. Speaker, we are working hard to make sure that we deal with this issue, even as we fight the bigger issue of proliferation of small arms, the access of ammunition from the neighboring countries, porous borders, and all the challenges that we go through. Our police officers are doing everything. And being a person who sat in this chamber again, and I've been challenged, and raised serious issues about banditry, Mr. Speaker, I have the responsibility to do everything to make sure that that region, Mr. Speaker, we get rid of bandits, and we are doing so. And therefore, Senator Kisang has referred to the case of Father Alois. Mr. Speaker, there is an ongoing, first let me say this, in Kerio Valley region, the entire belt of the Kerio Valley is now pacified, except a corner in Marakwet where Kisang is talking about between Marakwet, West Pokot, and Baringo in Tiati constituency, and a corner also in Loruk in Baringo County, and then some incidences in Samburu, and a corner also between Samburu and Meru and Isiolo. Mr. Speaker, even the incident that happened in Marsabit was isolated recently. Mr. Speaker, the fact that today the rest of the region is pacified shows the effort that has been put by this administration and our police officers to take care of that region. And that's why when you see some of the leaders who are looking for sound bites and petty comments, Mr. Speaker, they have absolutely nothing. They are lofty statements, Mr. Speaker. Sometimes, big statements, lofty, but have no statistics, have no reference to anything. They have absolutely no reference to the performance of the officers. And Mr. Speaker, I'm very happy that some of these critiques that criticize the Cabinet Secretary...
Honorable CS, we will have...
I have the last answer, Mr. Speaker. I still have two more.
Thank you, Honorable CS.
Two more, Mr. Speaker. I was just saying on this particular issue, the good news is that those who are targeting the Cabinet Secretary, at least they have no problem with the IG and National Police Service. So for their political good, if they want to run with my name, they can do so. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of Senator Okinyu Esther Esi, I want to say that as a ministry, we will extend our hand of support to the family. We will reach out to the widow, Mr. Speaker, the parents, and the extended family to see how best we can work together to support them, Mr. Speaker, at this moment of grief, and to see how we can support their family. Mr. Speaker, on the question of Senator Nyamu, Mr. Speaker, again, she was raising the same issue about the protests that happened last year and the people who were affected. And I beg your indulgence, Mr. Speaker, to answer that question together with the statement that was already before this House. Mr. Speaker, Senator Cherege has continuously continued with this song of the minister must resign. Mr. Speaker, I think it's important to say this because I will be coming to this House over and over again. And every time I came to this House since I was appointed a minister, this same senator is only talking about Murkomen must resign. Mr. Speaker, when I was the Minister of Roads and Transport, Cherege used to argue that I must resign because many people are dying because of road accidents. When I left the ministry, Mr. Speaker, he has gone quiet. Suddenly, there are no road accidents. Mr. Speaker, when I went to the Ministry of Sports, it is the same Senator Cherege who kept saying I must resign. In fact, in one incident, there is a team that went for a volleyball tournament and they lost. And he said the minister must resign. Mr. Speaker, since I left the sports ministry, he has never been able to talk about performance of the volleyball team or the football team. And he never said that I must resign. When I came to this ministry, Mr. Speaker, he never waited for 2 months. He said the minister must resign. Mr. Speaker, all this resignation is compounded around a theme of the minister is incompetent. Mr. Speaker, Senator Cherege was my student. I taught him not one subject, not two subjects, more than 2 subjects. Mr. Speaker, his performance was below average. Mr. Speaker, he has no legitimacy at all, Mr. Speaker, to question my competence or performance.
Honorable
Mr. Speaker,
Honorable CS,
and I will table the results if it is required.
Honorable CS, Honorable CS, the academic performance of any senator is not something to be debated here.
I will go further, Mr. Speaker. I will not even talk about it.
Honorable CS, kindly conclude and allow the other witnesses
Mr. Speaker, since you gave him good time.
We only have 20 minutes to be shared.
I need 2 minutes of right of reply, Mr. Speaker, and I will be done.
Conclude.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, when I was a senator here, the biggest debate I ever had in this chamber was police brutality against the senators who were being arrested so that they don't vote in this House. Mr. Speaker, when I stood in this chamber and told the Speaker he must not sacrifice Kenya, it was because Senator Malala had been arrested, Senator Keleleko had been arrested, Senator Lagata has been arrested, Mr. Speaker, to reduce the numbers of people who are voting to defend people from marginalized areas, including Kilifi County. Mr. Speaker, that time, Senator Cherege was opposed to any process. He told the Speaker in this chamber, and the answer will bear me witness, that we must progress and vote because, Mr. Speaker, he cared less. Mr. Speaker, if performance is anything to go by, Anyone else can assess my performance, not Senator Cherargei, Mr. Speaker, in that regard. Mr. Speaker, I want to say this, that and I can say many things, which I don't need to say here, but I want to conclude by saying, Mr. Speaker, this chamber is a very serious house. If I always have to come here for one individual to always be talking about incompetence, he must resign. That is a normal song every day. He doesn't provide evidence, except what he used to do here to ask questions, Mr. Speaker, that are procured from out there. What else does Senator Cherargei feel like he has done in this country? I must say that we must respect each other. We must respect people's offices. We must respect it. And when people question you the way some senators have questioned me here and asked me about my performance, I respect them because it's objective. But not every time you say this and that, Mr. Speaker, he reduces this august house, which I served gladly, Mr. Speaker, to a place of vendetta. Mr. Speaker, I beg to submit and I thank you.
The IG, please. You may take the stand and respond to the questions that have been directed to you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Let me once again start by saying that myself and the National Police Service deeply regrets the unfortunate events that resulted in the death of Mr. Albert Ojwang while in the police custody. The service extends its sincere condolences to the family and loved ones of the deceased during this very difficult time. In line with our commitments to accountability and transparency, again, I would urge IPOA to move with speed so that it can be able to tell us who are these who committed this heinous crime at the Central Police Station, so that at the end of the day, they can be able to face the law squarely and answer to their crimes. Having said that, Honorable Speaker, let me start by saying that I've already apologized for the erroneous reporting that was done at that very early stages when this kind of crime was realized. And number two, that has since been rectified because we have even seen the outcomes of the autopsy that was done yesterday. In terms of compensation, my CS has actually discussed on what the way forward in terms of getting in touch with the family and assisting where we can be able, and we support that cause completely. The status of the deceased when he was brought in to Central Police Station was normal. That information, the status of the deceased when he was brought in to the Central Police Station at that 23 hours, the status was normal. The number of hours that was spent while driving from Homa Bay, that was Maweni Police Station to Central Police Station, that was roughly 5 hours, 15 minutes because the team left Maweni Police Station at around 16:00 hours and arrived in Nairobi at around 21:17 hours, roughly 5 hours and some minutes. from Homa Bay to Nairobi. There is that question of why not invite the suspect to come to record statements at the nearest police station. The DCI is going to deal with that one, Honorable Speaker. This question of why the OCS had to be consulted before the suspect was placed in the cells, again, the DCI is going to answer for it very, very, very clearly, Honorable Speaker. There was also the question why the late Albert Ojwang had an opportunity to, was given an opportunity to call the spouse. When I was here previously answering the other questions, I did indicate that the police officers are well trained on how to treat suspects and other Kenyans alike. It is on that basis that he was given that opportunity to check on his family and even report that he has safely arrived in Nairobi. And I also indicated that police officers are always on the forefront in the defense of the rights and freedom of the people. That is our training. That is my training. So it is on that basis that he was actually given that opportunity.
Two minutes to go.
Now, in terms of processing persons of interest, the question is whether the numbers, the persons of interest have actually been exhausted. I think that one it will be effectively answered by IPOA, who are actually investigating on the same, Honorable Speaker. There was also the question as to whether DIG Rangat could be paraded before the House to hear his side of story. I think, again, Honorable Speaker, that's a decision that, again, this House can consider. Whether there are different sets of laws for different sets of people or groups. Our laws are for everybody, and nobody is above the law. And the DIG was explained by the DCI. He did launch his complaint in writing to the DCI. And the DCI, in his wisdom, had a team to look into that complaint. And that is basically, as he explained, how that investigations commenced. There was also the question of who is the DCI officer who booked Albert in the cells. The names are also there with the IPO, and I believe the IPO is going to provide for that.
So, IG, you are referring quite a number of things to DCI and IPO.
Yes.
Kindly allow DCI to take the stand.
Thank you, DCI.
And DCI, I'll give you 8 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, one was, what is my a message to the family. The message simply is that we will play any legal role to have justice for the family and confidence by the public towards the police. And we shall go out of our way to make sure that we accord all the support and cooperation to the investigations currently underway, currently being undertaken by IPOA. Senator Odinga, whether there are different laws, I would like to confirm, Honorable Speaker, that we don't have different set of laws. The laws apply equally as enacted by our parliament. And the law says any person. So we are not selective as officers of the National Police Service in the application of the laws. Suffice to say, however, that the perception of defamation is relative and may be construed differently by different people. Why the officers gave a chance to the suspect, the IG has very well explained that. It is part of the reform process, and it is normal for us to grant the suspect telephone facility, so that, and that was actually a request made by the suspect, so that he could contact his wife and family members. And it's also a clear testimony of our adherence to the Constitution, the fundamental freedoms, and the Bill of Rights. Senator Manzo alluded to the possibility of the deceased having been injured by the DCI officers who effected the arrest. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I may not wish to dwell on this matter. In my earlier presentation, I was able to give a chronology and the graphic details of the movement of the suspect all the way from Homa Bay up to Central Police Station. And I'm sure these are issues the Independent Police Oversight Authority will investigate to its logical conclusion. Like I said, if any DCI officer is found to be involved in the killing, then, Honorable Speaker, let the law take its course. We are not covering up for anybody. In terms of the DCI officer who booked Albert Ojwang, the booking was not done by a DCI officer, Honorable Speaker. Like I had said in my previous submission, the booking was done digitally by a report office personnel. And I'm sure the particular officer, the identity of that particular officer will be established in the investigations. Why not summon? Honorable Speaker, when it comes to investigations, particularly on matters of computer and cyber crimes, it isn't a walk in the park. You are starting your investigations from the unknown to the unknown. You are dealing with persons operating from dark webs, persons running pseudo accounts, persons whose accounts are domiciled in other jurisdictions. At the commencement of our investigations, Honorable Speaker, we did not know the true identity of Albert Ojwang. We were only dealing with an ex-handle, a person whose identity was not known to us, and it was therefore not possible for us to summon him. It took a lot of efforts, a lot of expertise for us to unveil the identity of the owner of that ex-handle. And that's why it was not possible for us to summon the late Albert Ojwang up to the point where the officers went and arrested him. Sometimes again, and this applies to it's a general investigative technique, Honorable Speaker, some summons might be prejudicial or even interfere with our investigative processes. Like you are investigating a cybercrime and you want to recover a computer from a suspect. You cannot just summon that suspect to come and report to the police station. What is the risk? You have the risk of that suspect deleting the information that you require to use as evidence in court. So that's why sometimes we may not opt to summon suspects, but to go for them. Somebody has material exhibits, documents that you believe are crucial to investigations. You cannot just summon him. Summon him will give him ample time to destroy and interfere with those exhibits, Honorable Speaker. In terms of who issued the orders to have Albert Ojwang ferried from Homa Bay to Nairobi, Honorable Speaker, we don't micromanage our investigation processes. We give the officers their leeway to make decisions. We have professional officers who are well guided by the service standing orders, officers who are well guided by our guide to the criminal investigations. For example, Honorable Speaker, if a car is stolen in Lodwar and the suspect is arrested in Homa Bay, the court that has competent jurisdiction is that court which is domiciled in Lodwar. So it will be futile for an investigating officer to come and ask his commander whether he will take the suspect to Lodwar or he will be prosecuted in Homa Bay for that matter. So those are very simple operational and tactical matters that we leave the officers for the officers to make their determinations as guided by the service standing orders. Harming House from Homa Bay, the Inspector General has explained that. And there was
this year you have 1 minute to conclude.
The 1 minute to conclude, Honorable Speaker, I would like to reiterate the fact that DIG Langat has no command over IPOA. His command is limited to Kenya Police Service. I am urging this August House that the general mood in the country should not be used to victimize DIG Lagat. Let us wait for the investigations to establish the circumstances under which Albert Ojwang met his death. Thank you, and I submit, Honorable Speaker.
IPOA. IPOA, you may take the stand.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to, first of all, answer a concern that has been raised on my chair. And I spoke to him during the break. We got the notice of this particular sitting yesterday when he was already out of the country. But as we speak, he's finding his way into Kenya. He's coming back because we have a similar sitting tomorrow with the Parliamentary Committee. And together with me, Speaker, today are 3 commissioners and the CEO of the authority. So we are taking this matter with the seriousness that it deserves. And one of the commissioners present today, Honorable Jacqueline Lucalo, attended the autopsy process on our behalf. So, Honorable Speaker, I had questions that were asked. One of them was the clarity from Senator Siege, Senator Murago, and Senator Mandago. Our preliminary findings show that the young man, Ojwang, was alone in the cell, and the neighboring cell where we have had 2 witnesses, one has recorded a statement, they have said they had loud screams from that particular cell. But unfortunately, Honorable Speaker, the cells are not numbered. So we are also giving a recommendation for the cells to be numbered so that a cell is allocated vis-a-vis a person in the OB. The next concern was by Senator Wambua on the safety. I hope I got the name right. On the safety of our investigators and our officers. Honorable Speaker, our investigators especially are not safe, going by the fact that they're investigating armed police officers. But in the same light, in the security service laws, which are headed by the CS Interior, we are seeking for licensing to carry firearms. We were recently in South Africa, and our counterpart, IPID, the body that a lot was borrowed to the formation of IPOA, they have licenses to carry firearms, and in the same light also the right to arrest, the powers to arrest, and also the powers to prosecute. So that is something we are pursuing through the legal reforms in the security services laws. There was also a question on Senator Hezena on tampering of the CCTV. And as I'd said, we have engaged experts on the retrieval of the same. And we have the DVR, that is like the motherboard of the CCTV with us. So that is what we will use to reconstruct the evidence if we are able to get, after the information that we'll get from the expert. As I had indicated, Chair, the investigations are ongoing, so I believe we'll have more information as we go by. There was also a question by, I believe, oh yes, the forensic laboratory. And we have a small forensic laboratory at the authority that we use, especially on the small cases. But in most cases, we have been referring to the DCI laboratory. And that is why in the same security service laws, we are seeking for an independent forensic laboratory, especially on the issues of ballistics. But on the government chemist, like what we have sent currently on blood and tissue samples, that one we work with them, and we also have partners that we have signed MOU with who have the capacity of the same laboratories. I believe, Chair, I have answered the questions, but there was one on the DIG, and as I had indicated, we are taking statements from the officers who are at the station. In total, there are 17, and I believe if the investigation and the evidence that we are getting would lead to any other officer, including senior officers, to be investigated, we'll have no problem in calling them in or summoning them into IPOA to give us the evidence that is required.